Another week in sports gone, another weekend, and upcoming week upon us. So what's good on the internet? What's good in life? Akeem Balaam, aka LI495. Another edition of 10 Minutes on the Clock on the Real Sports Talk, our weekend recap show. So this news, of course, broke late last night, and it broke about Ray Allen. Ray Allen has announced that it looks like that he is going to be signing with the Miami Heat. In fact, there was an announcement, a tweet, as a matter of fact, that came from Mickey Arison that was something to the extent of "Welcome number 20 to Heat Nation," and then LeBron James and Dwayne Wade also came up with a subsequent tweets as well. So this whole Ray Allen thing, believe it or not, didn't break through reporters. It didn't break through ESPN. It didn't break through TSN. It didn't break through NBA TV or Chris Broussard or TNT or anything like that, SI or AOL or Yahoo. It broke through Twitter, and it was actually Mickey Arison, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade who tweeted the huge news out to everyone that Ray Allen will be signing with the Miami Heat. He will, a la LeBron, be taking his talents to South Beach, and it looks like that the deal is going to be somewhere around 1 year and perhaps $2 or $3 million. So Ray Allen looks like he is trying to sign for one more year. Most likely he is going at it for just one more year and is trying to win one more championship, because it looks like that he's lost confidence in two things that I look at this deal. Number one, it sounds like to me that Ray Allen has lost a lot of confidence that he can win a second championship before he retires. He doesn't think that, or at least not with the Boston Celtics. He sees that the Celtics are old. He sees, even with Garnett re-signing and, Paul Pierce is still uncertain, but there was a reported rift for some reason between Ray Allen and Rajon Rondo. I don't necessarily know what that was all about, but maybe that had something to do with his decision and the fact that he decided to ship out of Boston and go down to South Florida to team himself up along with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. And you know what? The Boston Celtics, he was, of course, a huge piece of that team that won in 2008, and as well as that team that almost won in 2010. But I guess there was a reason why they were able to sign Jason Terry, because maybe they were able to see that Ray Allen, with the fact that he was being looked at by the Miami Heat and the fact that he was trying to win another championship and he'll go wherever he can just to win one. Maybe they saw that perhaps Ray Allen, the fact that he was a free agent, that he was pretty much already had 1 foot out the door from Boston, and now he will be going down to South Florida to join the Miami Heat. So there's some big news out of the NBA for that. And staying with the NBA just for a second, also the second story that's on my mind this weekend is all this renewed mess about Dwight Howard. How many times has it seemed like I come on 10 minutes on the clock and we've been talking about Dwight Howard? Come again? But it broke earlier this week that Dwight Howard, after everything, after the firing of Stan Van Gundy, after the firing of Otis Smith, after that, now we know, turned out to be bogus statement talking about he wanted to be a better hero to the Orlando Magic fans in Central Florida, he demanded another trade out of Orlando. And where else did he demand it to? No place else except the Brooklyn Nets. Now, there has been talk that the Nets are still pursuing Howard. There's been talk that the Nets have given up their pursuit of Dwight Howard, with them being able to get Joe Johnson, and even with Darren Williams announcing that he will indeed be staying as a Brooklyn Net. There's still some talk that the Nets are still pursuing him. There's talk about the Lakers, that they're pursuing Superman. But let's face it. Let's break this whole thing down for what it's worth. Dwight Howard, it turns out, he played himself big time, of course, because all he had to do was sign, and I already wrote a column earlier in this about on the 10 minutes on the Real Sports Talk website. I already wrote a column, but all Dwight Howard had to do really was sign the opt-out. Regardless of what Otis Smith, regardless of what anyone in the Orlando Magic management said, all he had to do was sign the opt-out, and he could have been a free agent this year. He would have been able to sign with the Brooklyn Nets the moment free agents started, the moment that teams would be able to sign, or rather that players would be able to sign with teams, he would be able to sign if he just signed that opt-out. But he signed the opt-in, which was the basis of the rumored lawsuit. He signed it, and that's why he is not a free agent. He will not be a free agent now until this same time next year. That's why teams are being rumored to trade for him. Nets, Lakers, gets Warriors, Mavericks. So there's a lot of talk about this Dwight Howard mess. And he certainly played himself. But I believe that the Orlando Magic also played themselves for thinking that Dwight Howard wanted to stay. Because this has been building up and building up and building up, and has finally reached a crescendo. This has been building up for the past 2 years. We've known for the past 2 years that Dwight Howard wanted out. And for some reason, the Orlando Magic still had the audacity to go balls to the wall as if he was planning to stay in Orlando. They pretty much did everything except rename the Amway Center the Dwight Howard Dunkatorium. I mean, they fired Stan Van Gundy, we know at his request. They fired Otis Smith, we know at his request. They did all this. They gave him power over the jobs of both the GM and the coach. They probably would have allowed him to pick a new general manager and a new coach if he wanted to, and it still turns out that he wants out of Orlando and that he wanted to go to Brooklyn all along. So as it turns out, sure, Dwight Howard, you can say he played himself, and what he did is not going to endear him to many Orlando Magic fans. Great player or not, O-Town wants him out. He's more Lex Luthor, as many of ESPN has said, than he is Superman right now, and they want him out of Orlando, do the Orlando Magic fans. And really, Dwight Howard, sure, he played himself, but the Orlando Magic also played themselves because they allowed one player who was the reason why they got the new arena, one player who was the reason they got the All-Star game, one player who was the reason they're not in Kansas City or Seattle right now. They allowed that one player to take full control over the management, and as it turns, now they are a mess. So who cares at this point that Jameer Nelson was able to re-sign? They're a mess, and they have to start rebuilding from top to bottom right now as a result of this Dwight Howard saga. So off of that right now, and on to the Home Run Derby. The participants for the Home Run Derby, the captains were Matt Kemp and Robinson Cano. Kemp chose Giancarlo Stanton of the Miami Marlins. He also chose Carlos of the Colorado Rockies, and he chose Carlos Beltran, I believe, from the St. Louis Cardinals. That's the NL side. On the AL side, you got Mark Trumbo from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. You got Prince Fielder of the Detroit Tigers, and you also have Jose Bautista, Joey Bats of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, there is around the picks for this home run because it was said that he was supposed that Robinson Cano, who is the AL captain, it was rumored that Robinson Cano, in fact, he said to ESPN that he was going to pick a Kansas City Royal for the Home Run Derby since it is in Kauffman Stadium this year, and that Royal would have likely been Mr. Country Breakfast himself, Billy Butler, and there has even been a campaign launched in Kansas City to boo Cano when he's introduced at the Home Derby as well as at the All-Star game. They're going to boo Cano, it looks like, for not picking their hometown boy Billy Butler, and I can sort of sympathize with those Kansas City fans to an extent, because the Home Run Derby is it's just like the All-Star game. It's entertainment for the fans, and he did say that he wanted to pick a Kansas City Royal, and as it turns out, I don't see Prince Fielder wearing a Kansas City Royals uniform, nor do I see Trumbo, Fielder, or Cano. So I see where the Kansas City fans have a rift, where they have a beef with him where he did not pick Billy Butler for the Home Run Derby. So I can sort of see that. I really do believe, just like Upton last year, I really do believe there should be at least one hometown, guy there from the team at the Home Run Derby. So just some quick thoughts on that. And also, I'm going to leave on this note, the United States Olympic Committee, huge Olympics news, as we are only about 2.5 weeks away now from the London 2012 Olympics. The United States Olympic Committee announced that they will not put forth a bid for the 2022 Winter Olympics. Denver was rumored to bid, Bozeman, Idaho was rumored to bid, Salt Lake City was rumored to bid, Reno was rumored to bid, and perhaps a tandem with Sacramento, California. But all those are dead. As it turns out, the USOC will not be bidding for the 2022 Olympic Games, likely looking at the 2024 Summer Games, where there are already rumored candidates likely of possibly New York City, possibly San Francisco, possibly Philly, possibly Washington, possibly even Chicago. And we all remember the run that they made at the 2016 Olympics, arguably the best ever Olympic bid by a U.S. city. So that's the news of the week. There's your 10 minutes on the clock edition for today. This July 7th, 2012. Ray Allen to the Miami Heat. You got Dwight Howard and Orlando Magic basically playing themselves into oblivion. Home run derby as well as huge Olympics news. The USOC not bidding for this upcoming Olympics, or rather for the 2022 Winter Olympics. Now they will be going to Europe. So rate, comment, react, reply, add in, subscribe. Look forward to reading your comments as always. I'm just one guy talking about nothing. What you think about it? Everything that happened this week. Also, the USA Basketball will be announcing today their final 12-man roster for the upcoming London Olympics. So that will also be something to watch. We know 9 of the participants, but the final 3 spots are still wide open. So rate, comment, react, reply, add, and subscribe. Look forward to reading your comments as always. Just one guy talking about nothing. So until next time, 10 minutes on the clock on the Real Sports Talk, LI495. See you on the internet someplace.